Welcome to the HFY Tales channel. Remember to like and subscribe if you like the story. Enjoy and take care.
In the far reaches of the galaxy, on the vibrant planet of Zylones, where a cerulean sky kissed the blazing orange sun, an intricate web of life thrived. Towering crystalline structures glinted in the light, housing beings both familiar and foreign. The Zylonian civilization, with its remarkable advancements in technology and art, was governed by ancient laws that shaped their very existence. Among these laws was a peculiar one that revolved around the concept of familial ownership. In this society, elder sisters wielded absolute authority, a paradigm born from a blend of tradition and survival instincts. They were responsible for safeguarding both family and territory, their status unmarred by anything but reverence. Everything, including lives, belonged to them. Enter the human envoy, a brave diplomat from a distant Earth. Named Alex, he had come to Zylones to foster peace and cooperation, having volunteered for this perilous task. His deep curiosity for the alien culture propelled him forward, but disappointment simmered beneath his heroic facade. The alien laws seemed archaic to him, curtailing freedom and love in ways he struggled to comprehend. The elder sister, Alara, was a formidable presence among her people, revered for her fierce protection of the Zylonian way. Her silver hair flowed down her back like a cascading waterfall, framing an expression of dignified resolve. A warrior by nature, Alara was cautious and calculating, traits deeply ingrained within her from birth. Yet, those very traits became an obstacle upon encountering Alex. Her younger sister, Lyra, vibrated with an energy that thrummed against the boundaries of her sister's discipline. With iridescent skin that sparkled under the sun and laughter that seemed to echo across the fields, Lyra was everything Alara kept at bay. Adventurous and eager to explore beyond the confines of her world, Lyra often found herself daydreaming of distant stars and the possibilities they offered. The day began like any other, with the sun basking the Zylonian highlands. Yet, the serenity would soon be shattered. Lyra had wandered deeper into the glistening fern forests bordering the fields, chasing the shimmering butterflies that adorned the landscape. The moment felt far too perfect, too serene, and yet the shadows began to close in. Unbeknownst to her, lurking beneath the underbrush was a renegade faction, a group that had long sought to dethrone the prevailing peace. As Lyra marveled at the colors of the flora, they leapt from the shadows, ambushing her with brutal swiftness. Struggling, she barely had time to scream before stifling hands dragged her into the verdant depths of the forest. Panic surged within her, the joyous atmosphere rapidly morphing into terror. Not far from the chaos, Alex sat atop a rise, observing the local fauna, when he heard a shrill voice pierce the tranquility. His instincts kicked in. He sprinted towards the sound, fueled by an unwavering resolve to protect, driven by an understanding that lives sometimes hung in the balance by mere chance. As he burst through the trees, he came upon a scene that ignited his fury. Multiple figures encircled the hapless Lyra, their intentions malevolent, eyes glinting with malice. Time felt suspended. "Let her go," he shouted, his voice reverberating with urgency, dismissing any remnants of caution. The attackers turned, surprise etched on their faces at the intrusion. With no time to strategize, Alex charged forward, seizing a branch from the forest floor. Adrenaline coursed through him as he swung the improvised weapon, connecting solidly with the nearest assailant. A roar of defiance escaped him, igniting the fight within him as he defended the young Zylonian. The struggle became a blur of strength, speed, and desperation, until at last he stood victorious, bloodied but unbroken, alongside Lyra. "Are you all right?" he asked, breathless, as they both collapsed to the forest floor. Lyra nodded, though her expression was a mix of relief and incredulity. "You saved me." Before he could respond, a shadow fell over them. Alara appeared, panting with authority, her presence commanding and immediate. Her instincts for protection, now heightened, assessed the chaotic scene before her. "What have you done?" she admonished, anger bubbling beneath her poised exterior. "You have endangered both of our worlds." "Endangered? I've saved her," Alex retorted, his chest heaving. He met Alara's gaze, an electric challenge exchanged between their eyes. Thus began a spiraling web of emotions, consequences, and half-understood laws, where human courage would clash against Zylonian tradition, setting forth a tale of unexpected bonds and daunting choices. The air was thick with tension as Alex and Alara faced each other, each grappling with a mix of emotions, anger, confusion, and something deeper simmering beneath the surface. Lyra, still catching her breath from the ordeal, moved between them, sensing the storm brewing. "Alara, please," Lyra pleaded, her voice steady despite the lingering fear. "I'm all right. He saved me." Alara's piercing gaze remained fixed on Alex. "You don't understand, sister. He might have put you in greater danger by provoking the Renegades," she snapped. Her expression was both fierce and protective, hardened by her responsibilities. "And yet here we are, an outsider interfering with our laws, thinking he has the right to save a Zylonian." "Your laws are suffocating," Alex shot back, his frustration bubbling over despite his attempts to remain calm. "I couldn't stand by and watch someone suffer, regardless of your customs." Alara's eyes narrowed, but beneath her stoic exterior, a flicker of curiosity began to emerge. She stepped closer, scrutinizing him intently. "You speak of freedom and courage, but you don't understand the weight of our traditions. We have survived because of them." "Then perhaps it's time to reevaluate what survival truly means," Alex countered, clenching his fists against the swell of irritation rising within him. The complexity of Zylonian society fascinated him, especially the stark contrasts to his own. As they walked back towards the crystalline city, Lyra couldn't help but steal glances at Alex. The sight of him standing tall and defiant in the midst of her sister's fury ignited a spark of admiration within her. Despite the chaos of the moment, she felt inexplicably safe beside him. Once inside a spacious chamber adorned with Zylonian textiles, Alara summoned the Council of Elders, a collective of revered figures who upheld the laws of their society. The chamber glowed with a soft light as the council assembled, their gazes fixed on the human who had challenged their way of life. "I have brought a human before you," Alara announced, her voice commanding and reverberating through the chamber. "He has defied our customs and threatened our way of life." The council members murmured among themselves, casting skeptical glances at Alex. An elder with silver-tipped antennae stepped forward, his voice stern. "A human. Here, your choice risks far more than you realize, Alara. His presence may destabilize everything we hold dear." Alex straightened, meeting their gazes with unwavering resolve. "I saved a life today, and I came here seeking understanding, not conflict. Why must you view me as a threat?" The elder's gaze darkened as he leaned closer, his voice low and authoritative. "You may have rescued a sister, but our laws dictate that your fate now belongs to Alara as your elder sister. You are to reside with her and comply with our customs until the council deems otherwise." "Fate belongs to no one but ourselves," Alex replied, his heart racing. "I didn't come here to be owned or defined by someone else's rules. I came to forge connections, to build bridges across cultures." The council shifted uneasily, their expressions a mix of intrigue and caution. Alara's stern demeanor softened for just a moment, caught in the tug-of-war between duty and an awakening acknowledgement that perhaps, underneath it all, there was a sliver of truth in Alex's words. "Is it not possible to uphold our traditions while also evolving?" Lyra interjected, her voice breaking through the tension. "The world is changing. Why can't we?" The elders collectively turned their gaze to the young Zylonian, uncertainty flickering across their faces. In that moment, a silent battle waged within Alara, her duty as a protectress against the stirrings of a new, more open heart. As silence enveloped the chamber, the future of their intertwined fates hung precariously in the balance, with love, law, and tradition poised for a potential clash. The days following the council's decree felt like an unending cycle of restraint for Alex. He was to stay with Alara, but the very essence of ownership nagged at him. As they settled into a shared routine in her home, it became increasingly clear that her commitment to tradition weighed heavily on their interactions. Alara, bound by her duty, maintained a stern yet watchful presence, while Lyra, caught in the middle, tried her best to bridge the gap that had formed between her sister and the human. As Alex adapted to life in Zylonies, He found solace in Lyra's company. Despite her sister's imposing shadow, Lyra's adventurous spirit was a balm for his soul. They would often sneak away to explore the bioluminescent caves or traverse the vast fields of wild flora that adorned the landscape. In these moments, laughter flowed freely, and an undeniable bond began to form between them, a connection that promised to transcend the barriers built by culture and law. But Alara's watchful eye never strayed far. She observed their budding friendship with increasing unease, torn between her protective instincts and a growing concern for her sister's well-being. One evening, as the three gathered for a meal beneath the soft glow of the crystalline lamps, Alara's unease erupted. "Lyra," she began, her voice cold and commanding, "you need to remember your responsibilities. This human is not your toy to play with. He is a symbol of what could endanger our society." Lyra's expression hardened, and she shot back. "He saved my life, Alara. How can you dismiss that? How can you let our customs blind you to the goodness in people?" "Goodness?" Alara's eyes sparkled with anger. "What do you know of this world, Lyra? You're young and impulsive. This human is a distraction. He doesn't belong here, and neither do his ideals." "Perhaps ideals are what we need," Lyra countered, her voice quivering with frustration. "Maybe it's time we questioned our oppressive laws. Maybe love shouldn't be bound by ownership." At that moment, Alex felt the weight of their conflict crash down on him like an unyielding wave. The air between them grew heavy, a volatile mixture of passion and unresolved tension. He reached for Lyra's hand, a gesture of support, but Alara's piercing gaze stopped him. "You dare hold her hand?" Alara spat, her voice rising. "You think you can simply walk into our world and change everything? You've no right." "Maybe I'm not trying to change everything," Alex replied, his heart racing. "I'm just trying to understand it, for both our sakes." "That understanding comes at a cost, human," Alara warned, her voice low and dangerous. "And you may not be ready to pay it." In the following days, the strain between them escalated. Alara's protective nature became suffocating, more focused on guarding her sister than understanding the bond that was blossoming between her and Alex. Lyra, growing increasingly frustrated, found solace in secret conversations with Alex, laying bare their dreams of transcending barriers, of finding a way to reconcile love with duty. One evening, as stars dotted the night sky like scattered diamonds, they slipped away to the edge of a serene lake shimmering under the moonlight. The world around them felt alive, vibrant, almost pulsating with possibility. "I wish you didn't have to live with Alara's restrictions," Lyra breathed, her eyes reflecting the stars. "You deserve to be free." Alex turned to her, a gentle smile breaking through the somberness of their surroundings. "And what if I told you that I believe freedom can be redefined? That perhaps we can carve a new path together?" Their fingers brushed lightly, and Lyra's heart fluttered with the weight of unspoken words. "You challenge everything I was taught, Alex. I never imagined I could feel these things for someone outside my world." He paused, his gaze locking onto hers, and the intensity of their connection sent shivers down her spine. "You deserve more than tradition allows. We can challenge the norms together if you want to." But as the warmth of their shared moment enveloped them, the sudden chill of reality intruded with a reminder of Alara, the laws, the expectations, the chasm forged by duty. The next morning, Alara confronted Lyra as she prepared to leave for another clandestine meeting with Alex. "You're slipping, sister," she warned, her voice piercing through the fog of the morning. "A dangerous game to play. Stop treating me like a child." Lyra retorted, her heart racing. "I have to make my own choices. Why can't you see that love is worth the risk?" The clash of wills echoed through the halls, each argument wrapping them deeper in the web of familial obligation and personal desire. Alara's stern demeanor began to crack, revealing a flicker of vulnerability that startled her. She had always acted as the protector, the owner, but now the perception of ownership felt increasingly foreign. "You understand nothing of what it means to protect those you love," Alara replied, her voice trembling. "If you continue down this path, it may lead to destruction for both of you." The sharpness of her words hung in the air, a reminder of the broken harmony that now defined their lives. Tension simmered just below the surface, and the notion of love hung like a fragile thread, poised to snap under the weight of tradition. As the days passed, the precarious balance between affection, loyalty, and duty hung in the balance, setting the stage for an inevitable confrontation that threatened to change everything, a moment where love would either unite them or rip their lives apart. Tension crackled in the air, exacerbated by the urgency of the moment. Every unexpressed word and unreconciled difference weighed heavily as the sun set, transforming the vibrant colors of Zylonies into deep shadows, each one reflecting the turmoil within the hearts of Alara, Lyra, and Alex. On that fateful evening, everything changed. The serene landscape was suddenly disrupted by the harsh sound of alarms blaring across the village. A messenger charged into their home with frantic eyes, delivering news that shattered the thin veneer of calm they had managed to maintain. The Renegade faction had launched a surprise attack on the neighboring village, unleashing havoc and chaos. "Stay here," Alara commanded, her voice stern as she rushed to arm herself. The familiar authority in her tone was unyielding, filled with a warrior's resolve. "I must gather the council and lead the defense. I can't have you both risking everything. But I can help." Alex interjected, desperation edging his voice. His heart raced as images of the innocent flashing in his mind fueled his anxious spirit. "I know I can fight. I won't stand by while people are in danger. Your presence is a risk." Alara shot back, her gaze sharp and unwavering. "You don't understand our ways or the seriousness of the situation. You'll only get in the way. Then help me understand." Alex's frustration spilled over, fear mixing with anger. "Teach me what I need to do. People are suffering, and time is running out." "Alara." Lyra stepped in, her heart pounding in response to the rising stakes. "You can't keep pushing him away. Alex saved my life. He deserves to be part of this fight, especially if it means saving others." For a brief moment, uncertainty flickered in Alara's eyes, but the distant sounds of chaos outside swiftly banished any hesitation. The urgency of the situation weighed heavily on them all. "We don't have time." Alara broke the silence, urgency filling her. "If we don't act now, it will be too late. You can come, but you do exactly as I say, understood?" "Understood," Alex replied, relief flooding through him as he nodded, prepared for whatever lay ahead. As they set out toward the village, the vibrant beauty of Zylonies dimmed into an oppressive night. The sounds of chaos and destruction grew louder with each step, a cacophony of screams and crackling flames punctuating the darkness. Alara led the charge, her instincts finely tuned as she navigated through the encroaching pandemonium. They reached the edge of the village, where the sight before them was a nightmare. Flames danced, casting eerie shadows over frantic villagers and marauding renegades. The air was thick with smoke and fear. "What do we do?" Lyra's voice wavered, her heart racing at the horror unfolding before them. "Follow my lead," Alara commanded, her voice steady despite the chaos. "Stay close and keep your wits about you." Nodding, Alex felt adrenaline building within him as he clutched a weapon, a spear, its weight both unfamiliar and empowering. They moved stealthily toward the fray, keeping low to avoid detection while observing the scenes of devastation unfolding before them. Renegades, clad in dark armor, were wreaking havoc on the villagers, who fought to defend their homes. The sight turned Alex's stomach. Men and women stood valiantly before the marauders, but the odds were heavily stacked against them. The flames consumed buildings, and the air was filled with the cries of the wounded. "There!" Alara pointed to a group of villagers trapped against a wall of flames. "We need to get them out. Alex, Lyra, follow my lead. We'll create a diversion." "But how?" Lyra asked, fear evident in her voice. "I'll head directly at the group of renegades to draw their attention," Alara explained, her expression fierce. "While I do that, you two take the villagers to safety. Are you ready?" Alex swallowed hard but nodded, adrenaline surging through his veins. He glanced at Lyra, who met his gaze with a brave smile, though her eyes betrayed the fear she felt. "Let's do this," she whispered, and he felt a rush of determination. With a final nod between them, Alara rushed forward, her warrior spirit igniting as she charged toward the nearest group of renegades, a fierce battle cry rising above the chaos. The sound drew the attention of several marauders, and they turned, brandishing their weapons, ready to meet the approaching threat. Now, Alara bellowed. Taking her cue, Alex and Lyra bolted toward the terrified villagers, who huddled together, wide-eyed and frozen with fear. The flames crackled dangerously close, threatening to engulf them completely. "Follow us," Lyra shouted, her voice cutting through the panic. "We'll get you to safety." As they reached the group, Alex quickly assessed the situation. "We need to move now." He began ushering them away, urgency underscoring every word. "Stay close and keep moving." They had moved as swiftly as they could, the villagers following Lyra and Alex through the tumultuous streets of the village. The sounds of battle echoed behind them, cries of pain and the clang of weapons, but they pushed ahead, determined to reach safety. "Over here," Lyra urged as they neared a small stone building, one more structurally sound than the others. "We can regroup inside." Once they had ushered the trembling villagers inside, Alex took a moment to catch his breath, his heart racing as the adrenaline began to wear off. Lyra looked at him with wide eyes, filled with concern. "What's happening out there?" she asked, her voice quivering as they huddled together with the others for safety. "We have to trust Alara," Alex replied, though doubt nagged at him. "She can handle it. We just need to keep everyone safe." Outside, the sounds of battle intensified. Cries for help rang out, and the acrid smell of smoke filled the air. The villagers exchanged anxious glances, murmurs of fear rising among them. Alex moved to the door, wanting nothing more than to rush back into the fray. But Lyra gently placed a hand on his arm. "Alex, we have to stay here," she urged. "We can't risk going back out there until it's safe. We need to be ready to protect them." Swallowing hard, he nodded, urging himself to focus as the moments stretched into what felt like an eternity. They listened, hearts pounding, as the noise from outside grew louder. Finally, Alara burst through the entrance, her expression a mixture of relief and exhaustion. The firelight illuminated her battle-worn visage, sweat glistening on her brow, and her armor was scuffed and sooty. "They're retreating," she said, breathless but triumphant. "We pushed them back." Relief washed over Alex like a balm. Lyra let out a shaky breath, quickly moving to Alara's side. "Are you okay?" she asked, worry etched on her face. "I'm fine," Alara replied, though her voice was strained. "But we need to regroup and ensure the villagers are safe. We can't let them regain strength. Those renegades won't stop until they get what they want." As Alara gathered the villagers, Alex felt a surge of resolve. "We can't just wait for them to come back. What's our plan?" "We'll split into groups," Alara explained, her authority returning. "We'll secure the perimeter and protect the remaining villagers. We may not be able to prevent every loss, but we can defend this area." Alex nodded, adrenaline surging through him once again. Empowered by purpose, he and Alara worked alongside Lyra and the villagers, forming a united front against any potential threats. They reinforced barricades, armed the more able-bodied villagers, and prepared themselves for whatever came next. As the night continued, they fought bravely, repelling any remaining renegade attacks. Their victory was hard-won, but every moment spent defending the village infused Alex with a newfound sense of strength and purpose. The bond between him, Alara, and Lyra grew stronger, forged in the fires of conflict. Finally, as dawn broke over the horizon, the first rays of sunlight illuminated the village, casting a golden light over the devastation left behind. The renegade menace had been vanquished for now, their retreat punctuated by the remnants of their attacks. Exhaustion settled heavily on everyone, but there was a sense of victory and resilience that charged the air. "Is it over?" one of the villagers asked, anxiety evident in their voice. "For now," Alara replied, wiping sweat from her brow. "We've pushed them back, but we must remain vigilant. They won't give up easily," she added, meeting Alex's eyes. In that moment, he knew his place among them. "Then we train," he suggested, a fervor igniting his spirit. "I know there are things I can learn to better fight alongside all of you." Lyra beamed at him, her eyes sparkling with pride. You're ready to be part of this. We'll all work together. Agreed, Alara said, the corners of her mouth turning upward as she allowed a hint of a smile. From today onward, we build our defenses together. As the villagers began to assess the damage and help those wounded, the trio moved to a quieter area. We did well today, Alex said, his voice filled with emotion. I've never felt more alive than I did fighting by your side. Lyra stepped closer, brushing his arm with her hand. You were amazing out there. Your courage inspired all of us. Before Alex could respond, Alara's serious expression returned. Alex, we need to talk about something important. What is it? He asked, sensing the heavy weight behind her words. You fought bravely today, and you have proven your dedication to protecting this world. But being a part of this means accepting the risks. The Renegades will come back, and their ambitions do not change. Alex nodded, understanding the gravity of her words. I'm ready for that. I want to be here, with you both. Then there's something you need to understand about our customs, especially regarding the bond between our people. Alara took a breath, the weight of her responsibility apparent. Lyra and I share a bond, but there's a path of bond and duty that comes with this fight. If we're to face the future together, we each have to understand what that entails. Lyra, sensing what was unfolding, stepped closer to Alara, placing her hand on her sister's arm. We want you to understand our culture and what it means to be part of our family. Alex's heart raced at the implications. He felt the connection with both women deeply, and the idea of forging deeper ties stirred something profound within him. I want that too. I want to be part of your world. There's something about this place and the two of you that feels like home. Alara nodded, her eyes softening. Then let's move forward together. We will train together, fight together, and explore the depth of our bonds. It won't be easy, but it'll be worth it. With the dawn illuminating a brighter path ahead, the trio embraced, their resolve solidified. The village, though scarred, began its recovery. Together, they built defenses and strategies, while forging deeper ties, racing into uncharted territory marked by loyalty, courage, and a shared vision of a brighter future. As days turned into weeks, the relationships between them deepened. They faced challenges, training alongside the villagers, learning the art of combat, and gradually embracing the customs of Zylonis. It was not merely about the physical battles. It was about understanding the emotional and cultural intricacies, binding them all together. Eventually, Alex, Alara, and Lyra stood at the forefront of a new dawn. They had transformed the village into a stronghold, a sanctuary prepared to ward off future threats. Whatever comes next, we'll face it together, Alara said one morning, her voice steady with certainty. As they watched the sun rise over the village, Alex felt an overwhelming sense of belonging, intertwined with their fates. Together, they were more than just warriors, they were a family. And in that bond, they would find strength to endure whatever challenges lay ahead.